It's time for Saint Lucia Magazine, your monthly wrap-up.
Hello and welcome to Saint Lucia Magazine, our monthly segment reviewing developments in government across various sectors of healthcare, education, the economy, infrastructure, and agriculture. I am Nivalo Geist. In this recap of July, we look at what the government has done to bring about positive change and progress for the citizens. Our team and the communications units of the various ministries in the public service have been gathering stories and highlights of the government's initiatives and projects, and we are excited to share them with you. This is St. Lucia Magazine. At the top of this review segment, the big story. Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre has primed the local housing and construction sectors for expansion and increased consumer participation by way of a new VAT amnesty on select building materials. Effective August 2, 2023, the cost of select building materials will be 12.5% cheaper for the next 2 years. Riani Isidore reports.
Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, on July 11th, tabled a resolution in the Parliament to provide additional economic relief to St. Lucians and spur economic development by removing value-added tax on select building materials.
If the cost of materials that you buy to build your house, cement, lumber, steel, and plywood, Mr. Speaker, if the total comes to $2,000, Mr. Speaker, the total before 2nd of August, you would have to pay an addition 12.5% on the $2,000. On the total price of the goods. You'd have to pay an additional 12.5%, Mr. Speaker. But with the removal of VAT, when you get your invoice, that 12.5% will not be there and you will not be required to pay that 12.5%, Mr. Speaker.
The lower house expressed support for the Prime Minister's resolution to suspend VAT charges on plywood, lumber, cement, steel, galvanized, and solar PV systems for a period of 2 years from August 2nd, 2023 to August 1st, 2025.
Even if the cost of these goods increase, even if they increase, at the end of the day, before August the 2nd, you have had to pay 12.5% more. With the removal of VAT, with the zero rating on VAT, you'll have to pay 12 and you will not have to pay the 12.5%. So you'll make a savings of 12.5% even if the price increases.
Home remodeling and renovation projects will be more affordable for the average St. Lucian. Contractors will also benefit from the reduced cost of building materials for medium to larger construction projects. Consumers will benefit from a 12.5% reduction in the cost of building materials as a direct result of Prime Minister Pierre's VAT amnesty.
I really hope, Mr. Speaker, that businesses work with us, Mr. Speaker. We have shown goodwill. We're going to increase the time period for the tax amnesty. We've reduced interest on VAT, Mr. Speaker. We've said to you, if you owe us tax, we waive all the interest and the penalties for the tax that you owe us, Mr. Speaker.
The social and economic realities of ordinary St. Lucians continue to inspire the people-first policies of the Pierre administration. This latest tax relief measure will increase consumer spending power at hardware stores and drive growth in the local construction sector. From the Office of the Prime Minister, Rihani Isidore.
In another of our big stories, the Ministry of Commerce has expanded the MSME Loan Grant facility to include duty-free concessions. 501 applications from entrepreneurs of micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, have been received by the Ministry of Commerce in the first call of their loan grant facility. The initiative stands to provide post-COVID-19 pandemic relief to MSMEs. In addition to funds provided by the facility, entrepreneurs also benefit from a 100% duty exemption on the import of certain items, which began from April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024. So says Minister for Commerce, Manufacturing, Business Development, Cooperatives and Consumer Affairs, Honorable Emma Hippolyte.
In keeping with the government's desire to promote sustainable business practices, the awardees will also be granted 100% duty exemption on imports of renewable energy and energy-efficient equipment, devices, and fittings.
Minister Hippolyte urges entrepreneurs benefiting from the loan grant facility to ensure that the funds are utilized in the intended manner.
I take this opportunity to encourage all MSME loan grant awardees to use the funds for the purpose intended. I remind all that my government, the government of the Saint Lucia Labour Party, is committed to supporting the sustainable growth of businesses to increase the contribution to the economy of our country.
The Honorable Minister expressed gratitude for the level of attentiveness garnered from citizens towards the initiative.
I am extremely grateful for the level of interest and commitment demonstrated throughout the island. It is also very rewarding to see that our efforts have resulted in new applications for registration of business names and companies. I am confident that MSMEs regularizing their status and formalizing their operations will allow for increased access to funding opportunities.
The loan grant facility is a combination of 70% grant and 30% loan with a 3% interest and no collateral requirements. You're watching Saint Lucia Magazine on the National Television Network. Stay with us.
Cut them loose. The anxieties, the worries. Open up to possibilities. Accept the uncertainties and cut them loose. The bitterness, the hopelessness. Plant a seed of hope in your mind. It will grow and flourish in time. Hold on a little longer. Life encourages you to grow. You have so much to offer. Look, tomorrow is waiting to say hello. Don't give up on yourself. Instead, reach out for help.
Perhaps it's time to reach out to someone. Call the Health Helpline 203 toll-free anytime to speak to a professional. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
This recap is your look back at the major developments in government for the month of July. In this review, the Prime Minister waives interests, fines, and penalties on VAT deductions. GPS systems are being used to identify homes of recipients of the Public Assistance Program, and citizens will receive improved services from health centers. Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre's decision to conditionally waive interest, fines, and penalties on value-added tax deductions owed to the government will collectively save St. Lucia's business community more than 150 million EC dollars. We have a report from Rihani Isidore.
In St. Lucia, businesses are required by law to remit value-added tax charges on their products and services to the Government of Saint Lucia. Failure to do so can attract fines and penalties.
But let me say that the government is looking at the laws as they relate to payments of VAT, income tax, etc. Particularly when the money has been deducted, has been taken either from the employee or has been taken either from the purchaser. The government is looking into these laws because it cannot be fair. It cannot be fair that if money is taken away for a purpose, it's not given to the full purpose that it was taken. So we're giving that amnesty. We are waiving all these penalties. We are waiving all these interest charges. We're waiving all these fines. But we're saying to the business community, let's work together so you can benefit and we can benefit.
The economic shutdown caused by the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 made it harder for local businesses to generate revenue and meet their financial commitments. Interest on unpaid VAT penalties, along with outstanding VAT remittances to the government, exceed 100 million EC dollars.
We are saying that the people who collected the VAT and did not give it back to the government, there ought to be penalties and fines and interest on that payment. Because you collected it from the government, you ought to give it back to the government. For the people who did not do that, the government is saying, we are going to waive all these penalties and all these fines and all these interests. Value of over $100 million.
Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, empathize with the financial challenges confronting St. Lucia's private sector. With the support of his cabinet of ministers and following consultation with the government's fiscal policymakers, the Prime Minister has decided to waive all unpaid VAT penalties owed to the government.
That is the dual approach which this government is taking. So we're saying we're going to help the consumer by removing the VAT on bill of materials, on some bill of materials, selected bill of materials. We're saying to the merchants that the consumer is getting a break. We're also giving you a break. We are saying to you that you owe the government, you owe us. Because that money was taken, VAT was deducted was added to the cost of the goods, and it ought to be given back to the government. It wasn't given. So we're saying to you, all the penalties, all the fines, forget it and pay us what you collected.
Collectively, St. Lucia's business sector will save more than 170 million EC dollars. Businesses must settle their outstanding tax payments no later than May 1st, 2024 to become eligible for Prime Minister Pierre's generous VAT amnesty. From the Office of the Prime Minister, Rihani Izulo.
The Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and Empowerment is reassessing and recertifying the beneficiaries of the Public Assistance Program and have implemented a GPS system to assist in identifying their houses. Marvin St. Louis reports.
The Public Assistance Program, commonly referred to as PAP, is one of government's social protection programs that provides cash transfers to vulnerable households island-wide to assist them in meeting their basic needs. The program, which is administered by the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and Empowerment, requires that beneficiaries are reassessed and recertified on a regular basis to determine continued eligibility. The ministry recently completed a PAP recertification exercise.
There's an obligation by the Government of Saint Lucia to actually undertake this activity, because we need to find out whether people are alive, whether people's conditions have changed, and also the depth and severity of poverty in Saint Lucia. So when we recertify clients, it means that we're taking up-to-date information about the client to see whether they've progressed or whether there are any changes. And also it helps in terms of our policy direction and programming at the ministerial level for our PAP beneficiaries.
In 2023, the ministry implemented a geo-coordinate system to help identify the locations of persons receiving public assistance. GPS support will now make it easier for welfare officers conducting field activities to help identify the exact location of persons needing assistance.
Every application that is reassessed and conducted, we need to find the locations and the points where our clients reside, which means in terms of data entry and in terms of programming, we can now locate persons based on the various GPS. We will be able to electronically identify where you're located in Saint Lucia and where exactly your house is located in Saint Lucia.
Approximately 3,500 households were surveyed during the recertification exercise, which was completed on May 31st, 2023. The data collected through this process will support appropriate programming by the ministry towards fostering overall improvement in the lives of poor and vulnerable persons in St. Lucia. Marvin St. Louis, reporting from the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and Empowerment.
This is St. Lucia Magazine. When we come back, St. Lucia observes emancipation for a month. The country's collateral registry of movable assets has made tremendous progress since its launching, and the pilot phase of the PBF program has been launched.
A glass of surprise. Golden 80+ healthcare package. Starting July 1st, 2023, the Government of Saint Lucia, through the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, commences the provision of the Golden 80+ healthcare package. And you are 80 today, Glacia, you qualify.
So, Golden 80+ healthcare package. Pour Guamun, 420 et puis plus.
Oui, Glacia. The package also includes provision of prescription drugs at the Community Wellness Center Pharmacy, and also 1 annual hearing test at Entrepot Wellness Center or Viewfort Wellness Center.
Moi, ça joint prescription oui med moi. Et yon fois par l'année, moi ça fait screening pour zo way moi.
Oui, Glacia. Access to eye tests and surgery at the Cuban Eye Clinic located at Old Victoria Hospital.
Moi ça ouais docteur Zie. Et si moi ni pour faire l'opération et puis c'est Cuban en clinique là à Victoria Hospital.
Oui, Glacia.
Cox, combien ni pour payer mani l'argent?
All this, Glacia, at no cost. Access granted upon submission of a national identification card or on behalf of persons who access the primary healthcare services.
Cox, I love my Golden 80+ healthcare package. Ça c'est gouvernement. Qui ça ou moi pour gouvernement here?
But Glacia, c'est moi qui gouvernement. We the people. Moi qui ba tout ces bagages ça, Glacia. Ça ou te quoi? To schedule an appointment at the Cuban Eye Clinic, contact the clinic at 758-456-8282, or for further information, contact the Community Nursing Service at 758-468-5321 or 468-5381.
Welcome back to St. Lucia Magazine. St. Lucians in targeted communities will receive improved health services for type 2 diabetes and hypertension at their community wellness centers. More in this report from Fernell Neptune.
The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, through its Project Implementation Unit, recently launched its Performance-Based Financing (PBF) pilot program in a ceremony held at the Bethel Blessings Events and Conference Center in Denver. The PBF pilot program is aimed at providing screening and treatment services for type 2 diabetes and hypertension and will be implemented in 17 wellness centers in a two-phased approach. Individuals who are 18 years and older will benefit from the services of screening and risk assessment, medication for treatment, and lab tests. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, Jenny Daniel, said that the PBF pilot program fits in the strategic plan of the ministry to significantly transform the health system over the next decade.
The ministry is happy and proud today to launch the PBF pilot project, which is an historic first in terms of healthcare delivery, with the potential to have a revolutionary effect on the structure of primary healthcare delivery system and improve accessibility of health services as well as the quality of healthcare delivered in St. Lucia.
Practice Manager for Health, Nutrition and Population for Latin America and the Caribbean region at the World Bank, Dr. Michelle Gagnolati, applauded the efforts of the Ministry of Health in launching the PBF pilot program and says this marks a new era in how health services are financed and delivered in St. Lucia.
Through the PBF, St. Lucia is making wise investments in the health sector and for the population in two main ways. Firstly, this program focuses on the NCD Countdown 2030 agenda to achieve SDG Target 3.4, which aims to find efficient service delivery pathways and investments to accelerate reducing premature mortality from NCDs. Secondly, through PBF, St. Lucia is investing in primary healthcare to make the public healthcare network reliable and valued. This is critical because more and better financing for primary care is the cornerstone of attaining universal health coverage.
Minister for Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, the Honorable Moses Jabatis, expressed how elated he was to be part of the launch of the PBF pilot program and said that the PBF demonstrates a creative and engaging way in bringing about a health sector reform.
This performance-based financing project, as you have heard before, deals with the transfer of money or material goods. It means increasing the quality and quantity of services. It shifts risks, as you heard, from buyer to the provider. It causes performance to be examined and causes there to be a system of encouragement, inducement, pushing the boundaries so that everyone performs better.
Phase 1 of the PBF pilot program, which commenced with the provision of its services on July 3, 2023, is being implemented in 8 primary healthcare facilities: Laquamingo Wellness Center, Jacmel Wellness Center, Reachford Wellness Center, Denry Hospital, Monrepo Wellness Center, Deriso Wellness Center, Lafargue Wellness Center, and Soufre Hospital. Thereafter, Phase 2 of the PBF pilot program is expected to commence in 9 other wellness centers in January 2024. Reporting from the Project Implementation Unit within the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, I am Fernal Neptune.
St. Lucia prepares to celebrate Emancipation 2023 under the theme Enkindling Our Consciousness. Emancipation observance is into its 2nd year, and a virtual launch of this 2023 observance is a tribute to last year's event and a look into what to expect. We take in the highlights.
Emancipation is observed annually on August 1st and marks the passage of the Abolition Act of 1833. In recognition of this significant day, the CDF and GIS recently produced and aired the virtual launch of Emancipation. A national event, the half-an-hour production, was aired on various broadcasting stations island-wide on Friday, 21st July. The star-studded spectacle highlighted the collective importance of the observance of emancipation. Ezra Augustine hosted the show.
Emancipation 2023. We hold on to the theme, enkindling our consciousness and continue to awaken our identity. Tap into our history, celebrate our heroes, and pay homage to the events of the past which has shaped our present and continues to build our future. As we continue to build and stand on the foundation laid by our ancestors, as a country, we have triumphed over trials. As a people, we have accomplished the impossible, building our country from the foundation laid down by those who came before us. Maybe this spirit of persistence must be inherited.
Executive Director of the Folk Research Center, Raisa Joseph, encouraged all citizens to think, reflect, and live emancipated.
Emancipation c'est racine identité nous. Emancipation c'est l'histoire et dépendance nous. Emancipation c'est la route là nous ka continuer jodia. Comité Emancipation ka invité tout citoyen pour participer à ces activités émancipation. Mais plus que ça, pour catchiller, réfléchir et puis vivre à la vie émancipation.
Whilst the Minister for Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information, Honorable Dr. Ernest Delay, expressed how he felt that the emancipation calendar of activities would assist individuals in understanding the important role emancipation has played in St. Lucian history.
We will again celebrate Emancipation Month under the theme, Enkindling Your Consciousness. For us, it is a very powerful statement that our people must come to understand and recognize the importance that emancipation has played in our history. And this year, I promise you that the program that we will present is one which will be a very powerful statement of our commitment to celebrate the emancipation of our forefathers in a manner befitting its historical significance. So I invite all St. Lucians to be part of the celebration in your local communities or at the national level. Come out, celebrate, participate, educate, and let us make sure that emancipation continues to mean something significant to us.
This year's activities include the drums and dance ritual, emancipation lectures, a breadfruit and bread and nut festival, the freedom concert, emancipation murals, and the La Waz Festival Guan Fête.
The NCPC is pleased with the progress made thus far in launching St. Lucia's collateral registry and movable assets. This registry will allow financial institutions the ability to offer new and innovative credit products to the MSME sector to expand their business operations while stimulating national economic growth and development.
The National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, NCPC, has achieved another milestone towards fully implementing the collateral registry. The collateral registry supports the recently passed Security Interest in Movable Properties Act. Economist and project leader at the NCPC, Shama Mathre, said this project is now halfway through implementation, with a formal launch scheduled for the latter part of this year.
We have to, remember why is it that we're implementing, and that is to decrease the cost of access to financing and to ease access to financing, particularly for micro and small businesses. And of course, it would have positive externalities for other stakeholders.
Stakeholders and end users recently participated in a week-long hands-on training and consultation session on the novel collateral registry system and the Security Interest in Movable Properties Act. The session brought together professionals from both the legal and financial sectors who are taught the navigational tools within the platform to successfully complete transactions on the collateral registry.
So far, it's a very interactive session, very hands-on, and the system, the software is very user-friendly. I think it gives the advantage is that everybody now has greater access to being able to do this.
With this software, the whole registration process, for me, I find it's going to be seamless, more efficient, more accurate, and of course cost effective for the customers out there. So all in all, I think it's a very good initiative. I'm looking forward to working with it, and I know my colleagues would be, excited to work with something like that.
The collateral registry system will be based at and managed by the High Court.
We also had training sessions with the High Court staff to prepare them for the coming of this collateral registry. They will be the host of this system, and so they did work with the vendor in terms of learning the different activities that they can perform within this system.
The World Bank and the International Finance Corporation, IFC, have partnered with the NCPC from project inception. Senior Operations Officer with the IFC, John Wilson, observed that the Security Interest in Movable Properties Act was met with both excitement and apprehension by stakeholders due to the significant amendments to the previous reform.
Part of the session today had the objective to assist in that transition from the previous system that was a mixed bag of different acts and different legal mechanisms and different legal products into a uniform or cohesive product and a single registration system. So I think that there's enthusiasm and acceptance that will be extremely beneficial for financial institutions. But that transition, how do you go from the old way of doing things to the new way of doing things, has been one of the concerns that had been expressed.
He said the way forward post the launch is to work with financial institutions to innovate credit products that use new types of collateral that engage in a more sustainable and inclusive manner with those who have not had traditional collateral to offer. St. Lucia is the first in the OECS region to establish a collateral registry.
And so this project initially started with only St. Lucia in mind, and then we got the attention from the World Bank, from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and from other regional agencies to replicate this project throughout the region.
The NCPC will roll out a full PR and marketing campaign for the launch phase of this project, scheduled for September 2023. For the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, Glenn Simon reporting.
When we come back, we look at the updated export requirements, and the Ministry of Agriculture collaborates to mitigate St. Lucia's water resource against climate change challenges.
I'm Siobhan Matthew. I am the Inspector in charge of the Criminal Investigations Department in Castries. The RSLPF has received several reports of a new scam targeting people who are looking to purchase vehicles via Facebook. The scam involves the following steps. The scammer posts an advertisement for a vehicle via Facebook using stolen photos and fake details. Then you'll be given a phone number and asked to contact this person to arrange some sort of meeting. The scammer also asks you to ensure that you carry along with you cash, as that vehicle has multiple buyers and will be sold if you do not purchase. You are then asked to meet up at a private location where you'll meet up with an individual who will ask you for the money and hand you a vehicle key, and will instruct you to go to a different location to collect the said vehicle. Perpetrators of this scam will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. I am encouraging persons to report any suspicious advertisements or transactions to the crime hotline 555. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Stay safe and be vigilant online.
Welcome back. The Plants Division of the Ministry of Agriculture held a workshop for exporters to better equip them on ways to address challenges in exports. Anicia Antwine reports.
As part of its mandate, the Division of Plant Research and Development of the Agriculture Ministry aims to safeguard plant health while enabling the smooth flow of international trade. The division, recognizing the importance of providing exporters with the necessary information and guidance to navigate the complexities of post-Brexit trade, hosted a workshop that served as a platform for exporters to gain a comprehensive understanding of the challenges they may encounter and how to effectively manage them. The workshop addressed specific requirements requested by importing countries, focusing on the conditions set for St. Lucian farmers, which served as a guideline for exporters to meet the expectations of importing nations and ensure compliance with stringent plant health standards. Senior Client Manager of Export Saint Lucia, Anthony John, says the consultation is timely, reinforcing their commitment to equip exporters for evolving international market demands while upholding plant health and compliance standards.
This basically deals here today, presented by the Ministry of Agriculture, dealing basically with the exports of agricultural produce, both to the UK market and the UK-EU market, and also the United States. These are very important markets for us as an agency to ensure that our clients, farmers, exporters have the necessary information and knowledge that would impact their exports rather.
According to Chief Plant Health Officer Hannah Romaine, the division's role is to stay informed about the traceability systems being implemented by various countries. She highlights that the discussion on a pilot program evaluating the effectiveness of the traceability system offered exporters valuable insights and opportunities for enhancing product integrity throughout the supply chain.
We have seen over the years post-Brexit several changes to the regulations for plant health, and we have had some challenges over the years where we have had consignments being detained in the UK for several reasons, because of perhaps changes to the declarations, changes to regulations, and we have seen it fit to bring all our stakeholders together to ensure that they do understand what the changes are and how we can eliminate some of those challenges that we had to deal with over the years.
Through the promotion of awareness on plant health requirements, facilitating knowledge exchange, and encouraging the adoption of traceability systems, the Division of Plant Research and Development aims to enhance the competitiveness and sustainability of the industry. From the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
The Ministry of Agriculture, in union with the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, works to strengthen St. Lucia's water sector against climate change challenges. Anicia Antoine reports.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Rural Development, in partnership with the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, has embarked on a collaborative effort to bolster the resilience of St. Lucia's water sector in the face of climate change. Supported by the European Union Global Climate Change Alliance, this comprehensive project aims to ensure water security for the country's population. The water and sewage company's Verna intake currently serves as a demonstration site for climate change adaptation interventions undertaken by the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center with funding from the European Union. At the Verna intake, the project focuses on crucial measures such as maintaining turbidity, reducing sedimentation in the river, and rehabilitating river banks. Communication specialist attached to the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, Tekla Fontenade, says the infrastructure upgrades and water intake enhancements are essential for water supply efficiency and mitigating water scarcity, particularly during the dry season.
So the water sector is very vulnerable to climate change because of water scarcity. Because when you expect rain, you're not getting rain, and when you don't expect rain, rain is coming. So because there's prediction for less rainfall, then it means there's a possibility we'll have more drought, and that means less water. So the project is focusing on doing some interventions in 8 islands of the 16, in 8 countries of the 16 that are focused on this project. And in those water interventions, we are building resilience in the water sector.
Recognizing the significance of this endeavor, the director of the Water Resources Management Agency, Jason Ernest, emphasized the importance of integrated water resources management to strengthen resilience, while also underlining the project's commitment to fostering public awareness and climate literacy as integral components of its objectives.
When you're looking at building resilience in the water sector, you look at it from a point of view of integrated water resources management, and primarily everyone is a stakeholder in that regard. Water is life. We need water for economic and social development, and the water primarily comes from the land, and all activities take place on the land. So whatever affects the water has on the land, it ultimately affects the water resources at our collection points. And in St. Lucia, Our water supply is primarily surface water. So it's waters that we collect in our rivers and our streams. So it is critical that everyone is aware as to what is happening and where they can play a role in building resilience, especially, in this era of climate change.
This project represents a significant step forward in St. Lucia's efforts to address the challenges of climate change in the water sector, demonstrating the country's commitment to sustainable development and paving the way for enhanced resilience in the water supply systems worldwide. From the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
With this, we come to the end of St. Lucia Magazine, your monthly wrap-up. A huge thank you to all who contributed to the production of this program, the National Television Network, GIS team, and the communication officers of the various ministries. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to join us next month for another episode of St. Lucia Magazine on NTN Channel 122 and the social media pages of the Government of Saint Lucia. Until next time, I am Nivalo Geist.
It's time for St. Lucia Magazine, your monthly wrap-up.